Jen, it's a delight to have you here. I've known you for a number of years here in Woodhaven, and you're always a real positive, positive, upbeat, and really you love this community. And I love that every time you talk about this community, you talk about it. So, but we wanted to just get a bit of background on you and just tell us where you came from and a bit about Jen growing up.
Absolutely. I love to, Ed. Hi, everybody. First, and one more time, thank you all for being here. Thank you to the Woodhaven Cultural and Historical Society and to Ed, who is a great neighborhood friend, a man that I'm so grateful for kind of dusting me off this evening. So I grew up in Vermont. My parents separated, and I spent my summers on a dairy farm with my dad and holidays, but with my mother, we grew up on an inn, and it was also a cross-country ski center. So we were very much outdoorsy people, and during that time, not a lot of TV. So there was always a lot of art and puzzles and book reading. And I think for my mom to help us pass the time, we did do a lot of art, and we dabbled into, my sister and I, and painting. There was a local watercolor artist, Herb Gallagher, I think his name was. I don't even know how I remember that right this moment. Just down the hill from us, and I did some watercolor painting with him and several other artists. We dabbled in some pottery. We dabbled in some ink printing, the Marizarian, right, where you do wood carving and you can do ink printing with it. Lots of different things. So went to high school, went to college, didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life. Still don't really know what I want to do with my life at almost 50 this year. But I went to college and I came to New York City after traveling across the country and came here. I didn't know where else to go, and I thought I'd only be here for 2 years. I've been here now 23 years, 9.5 years in Woodhaven. But I came here and I started working in an off-Broadway theater and their set design department. And I learned about lighting and set design and working with different groups of people to pull a whole idea together. And that was
what kind of sets did you work on?
We did a baseball themed play one time, and that was kind of exciting. I did a lot of shopping. I learned about Canal Street. I was only here a year, and that was the most exciting thing. So we did a baseball scene, and then we also did, ironically, something on Black History Month, and that was a really amazing story. It was just because kind of paying a homage to the history of slavery in our country. No one in specific, but just the history. A very small theater. I think it could only hold 30 people. It was Castillo Theater, very, very small. So then my internship there ended, and they had hoped maybe to employ me a little bit, but being an off-Broadway theater, funding is minimal. So they hooked me up with an architect who did model making, Stuart Brecker. He worked right above the Tower Records on Broadway Street back when that was still something. Anyways, I did that with him, and he designed chairs and toothbrushes, and he did 3D models just before AutoCAD was really kicking in. And I did that for almost 6 months, and I'm afraid I walked out of there one day, and I was living in New York almost 1.5 years. I was working full-time in a restaurant. I was interning during the day full-time, and I hadn't been to Central Park. I hadn't been to a concert. I hadn't been to a museum. And I'm like, what am I doing? And I just walked out of there. I felt relieved, but at the same time, kind of kicked myself once I realized what I did a couple weeks later. But I continued working in the restaurant, and then a few years later, my father passed away. I was also turning 30, and the weight started to kick on, and my self-esteem was starting to go a little bit, and I started to get a little depressed. So I started collaging with all the junk magazines we used to get pre-Amazon from Victoria's Secrets, L.L. Bean, Time Out New York, you name it, I accumulated it. And I just started cutting them And I remember one art assignment in college was to do a textured color wheel. And ironically, at that time, I didn't really have much, but I did have a magazine, and that's exactly what I did. I cut out magazine and I made a textured color wheel, very small, but the size of your fist. And then I trying to figure out how to deal with my sadness and my self-esteem and what am I doing with my life. I did my first collage, and it's called, I think you have it there somewhere, and we'll talk about it when we get there. So then I did that for a while. Had my first art show on my 35th birthday at Lobo, in a restaurant in Brooklyn, where I managed, and that went over very well. And from there, oh, actually, I should back up a little bit. I'm sorry, I jumped the gun a little bit. So I made all these collages. They were helping me work through, they would always help me work through something in my life. Again, I'll explain more once we look at them. Sure. Didn't think I'd really do anything with them, because on the back of them, they are also collaged more personally. There would be journal entries, maybe newspaper clippings, the World Trade Center coming down, that's on one of the collages. Sonograms of my children are on the back. So I couldn't really sell one of the original pieces because it was truly a part of me. Then one day, a high school friend of mine called me up and said, hey, I hear you're doing these cool collages. Would you like to do prints of them? Well, I guess so. Why not? So he had just converted his family's horse barn in Peacham, Vermont, into a printing business. So I had my collages scanned in Manhattan and got them on CDs and shipped them up there to Vermont. And we batted back and forth to get the color right in the paper. This paper is amazing science. Working at Beat the Clock with Frank is really neat. So that was really neat. And then I was like, okay, well, what am I going to do with this? I have to start doing shows. So that's when on my 35th birthday, I had my first art show, and then it just spiraled into a dozen art shows in the Brooklyn area. Being in the restaurant industry, kind of know a lot of people in the bars and cafes, and they would do moving art shows. So I tied into that circle, and I did 12 shows, and then I married this handsome guy, Johnny. His name is Hector Pettersen on your screen out there. He's back there in Woodhaven. And we got pregnant, and I continued to collage a little bit, but I decided at that time to focus on raising my little girl, Esmeralda. And 5 years later, Benicio came along, and I just dedicated myself to them, and they became my art. And that's where I am today. And also believe, as you and I have spoken, that the pandemic, there are pros and cons. And I think a big positive or a pro for me at this time is it's opened a lot of other opportunities that I may never have considered. And as I said, you've dusted me off. I've wanted to do this for a while, but when is the right time? Because there's always so much to do when you have children, and now we're in this pandemic, and we've been remote learning since March 13 last year. So juggling that and family and everything else, it kind of stayed on hold, but the art always flowed through our house and into our community, I felt.
What we're going to do is we're gonna take a look at some photos that you sent me, and then we'll just continue our conversation. And you can just comment on the photographs as you see fit. So let me just do this now. There we go. All right. All right. Did I do that right? I've got it over there on Facebook over there, so I can see.
This is a great one. Unfortunately, it is upside down, and that's okay.
Well, we come to it later on. I'll see if I had it right.
Okay. I'm sorry. Great.
That's okay.
Great. I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry. Don't be sorry at all. Here we go. Really quick, while we're here, and I got everybody, just to give you a quick update on the book that we've been talking about doing for a while. We are doing a Woodhaven history book, and we got some really, really good stuff coming here. Pictures we haven't shared in any presentations. A lot of pictures that are really gonna really make people happy to see. I just pulled one.
Wow.
This one was this one is on loan to us for the book from the Woodhaven Business Improvement District. Raquel Olivares has loaned us some pictures here. You can see EB's over here and Martin Paint back there. Some really great pictures of Jamaica Avenue through the 1980s that people are really going to love seeing.
Wow.
So we got that coming soon. That's about as close as I have to an announcement on it. And, but we're going to be coming up to that soon. So anyway, I threw that in there. And now here we go, Jennifer
Awesome.
Lambert, Technoquilter.
Awesome.
Tell us about that name, Jen.
Technoquilter. Well, I come from a family of quilters. My grandmother was a quilter and crocheter and knitter, and I mean, we have Afghans and things like that coming out of our ears at home. So there was that element. I never learned. I can barely sew a button without drawing a little bit of blood. And then techno, because when people looked at my collages, they were amazed that they were not done on the computer, that it was something that I did with a razor blade and a straight edge. So I just kind of melted, again, quilting, I'm thinking as an art, and then my art, just melting those two words together, Technoquilter. It sounded kind of hip.
We're going to start off with some family shots here, and you talked about meeting your husband, and then we had spoken about the two of you lived in Brooklyn for a while when you were first married, and then but then you made the trek over here to Woodhaven. Tell us about how you came here to Woodhaven.
Absolutely. We were both living in Red Hook when we met separately, and then we moved in together in Red Hook. Loved Red Hook. We both worked within walking distance of that home, and we had a great community there. Nobody with children. And then we did have a child, and Esmeralda started crawling and needing more space. She couldn't sleep in the living room anymore with open stairs out the house. So we decided to start looking around. It took us a year and a half. Ironically, we kept coming in and out of Woodhaven in our search. We really wanted to kind of stay in the Red Hook, Brooklyn area because we had that community and we also worked there. Johnny works in Dumbo and I worked in Cobble Hill, so it just kind of made sense. But we kept coming back to Woodhaven, One day we were in the park having a little lunch with my mom before returning her to Vermont. We were going to take her to JFK and having lunch, and we just started meandering down one street. We happened to go down 94th Street, and I saw the house. It wasn't the same house on Trulia. It had this green asphalt or whatever, bad shingled housing. And so on Trulia, we kept just passing it by, even though so many elements drew us to it. Mm-hmm. Drove down this street and I was like, oh my goodness, that's the house. They never reposted the fact that they had recited this house, re-roofed it, everything. Mm-hmm. We called, it's like, we'd like to see this house. And we dropped my mom off at JFK, came back an hour later, saw the house, and we moved in there. Well, that was the 4th of July weekend. Our house's birthday is October 9th.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place. We are so happy. There we are on our porch. This is my family, Benicio and Esmeralda and Johnny. I think this is the first day of school where everybody's sporting uniform in the blue. One of my inspirations is travel. I called it a disease, actually. It was my drive in working so much at the restaurant, other than having to pay off my school loans, was to save money and to travel. I did a lot, and this is a family, first family, international family trip with Benicio, second with Esmeralda, but we'd gone to Argentina for her first birthday, but this is us in Peru at Machu Picchu. So inspiring. Traveling is the best classroom for any age. Great time. This is us in the jungle in Peru. Love it. These guys like to fish. This is my family. It's my husband, Johnny. You can see him in the back. His mother's in the purple. That's Abuela. And Abuelo is next to her. Esmeralda's with the flamingo and Benicio. And my husband's brother, Ariel, and my sister-in-law, Lorena. We live on 94th Street. And there's a lot of fun, humor, and a lot of creativity. This was Benicio's birthday in May, since we couldn't have a real party because we were in pandemic. It was a 5th birthday. We kind of created a Hawaiian fun theme, and everybody got right into it. And you would never have thought that this was not a party with 50 other kids, which is so traditional of us. So I'm very fortunate to have a family that's charismatic and supportive of my creative mind, if you will. This is my maternal family. I'll just go over the top. Uncle Jerry, then myself and Aunt Vicky. We're here in Florida with them, actually. And they also helped me in my first art show 15 years ago, this coming August. So it's quite an honor to be here with them as I take this step again. Johnny's in the back there. And then in front of Johnny's one of my other moms. I'm blessed with 3 mothers. And this is Grammy P. And then next to her is Jeremy. And below Jeremy is my mom. And my mom is holding Beatrice, a cousin, Esmeralda, Benicio, and then Beatrice's sister, Anna, and then my sister, Amy. There's just the 2 of us. And that's my family in Maine at my Uncle Chad's house 2 years ago.
Oh, nice, nice. All right, so now we have some pics of your life here in Woodhaven.
This is in our home. This is during pandemic times. This is in February. I'm part of the Parents Association, and I'm proud to be supported by my team this evening here. Thank you for coming. We did a project. We hosted a February event, and it was for Valentine's Day, the Lunar New Year, and Black History Month. And I was responsible for leading a breakout room of teaching how to make fire-breathing dragons. And what was really cool about this project, and again in these times, though I've always felt this way, is using what we have. We live in such a time of such excess, so much materialism. I mean, I'm guilty of it, don't get me wrong, but I do, when it comes to art, love to recycle. So here, it's toilet paper rolls. You could roll just paper. You can have googly eyes, pom-poms, cotton balls, anything for eyes. I mean, it was just a fun activity, and it was really wonderful to work with other children virtually. It was a neat experience.
That's great.
This is just a couple of weeks ago. We broke through the fence at the golf course and found this awesome sledding hill. A girlfriend of mine, Magda, told us about. I just want to say thank you to Magda. I hope she is here. She is the one that told me to reach out to you, Ed, for this evening.
Great.
So I have to thank her for helping me be here as well this evening. Marjorie, many of us know Marjorie. She's just a couple houses up from us. And she has totally embraced our family. She has, wow, I have no words for this woman. She does everything for so many. She's embraced us. She's offered and has hosted 5 maybe secret candy cane making events in her basement at the store at Schmidt's, and just a really lovely person. Again, we're always out. This is also Kira and Kirsty, also some adopted daughters of mine, as Marjorie knows them. We are everywhere. You can see there we are on some wheels.
Now tell us about this. This is fascinating. I love what you guys do here.
Yes, I'm sure I'll probably be corrected. I probably should have gotten my facts correct, but I wouldn't have remembered anyways. But for one of Esmeralda's birthday parties, we always had an art project for every party, and this particular birthday party was to build a little free library. Grammy P bought her a number to the circuit of the little free libraries. So then we had to build one. And this is a little free library built with pieces of floorboards that we used that we recycled into making this. Floorboards, actually, that are from a maple tree from Vermont on my father's land. So it was milled, taken down up there, milled and brought down here, put on the second floor of our house. And then these bits and pieces Johnny saved and built this little free library for Esmeralda. And then at that birthday party, all the attendees, all the little children, all her little friends were able to color or paint a portion of the library.
Wow, nice.
Yeah, it's a remarkable piece.
And do you get a lot of traffic with it? People leave it and taking books?
Oh yeah, more so obviously now than ever with what's going on. But yes, we take donations and they go out. It's a great cycle.
Now, is it just kids books or is it adult books too? Everything?
No, it's adult books. There are bilingual. I've seen Spanish books, Italian books in there. Actually, I saw one in Arabic. So yeah, there's not a lot, but it is definitely adult and child. Definitely adult and child.
And now this is something you added this past year.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. We felt for so many. We are so blessed to be so fortunate in our lives and in these times. It's quite humbling these times. My aunt and uncle have worked for a food pantry in the past, so I was aware of this. I had worked. I came from, here's a funny story from high school. A girlfriend of mine, Shannon Lemon, her family rounded up a bunch of food from local farmers. We threw it in a U-Haul and we drove down here to New York City and we made Thanksgiving dinner for the children of the Covenant House. I'm not remembering much because it was so long ago, but just this was something always kind of in my mind. But then with the pandemic happening, now there's a demand. Who doesn't have a little extra food to share? And that too is highly trafficked. I mean, it's stocked, but it doesn't stay a day in there. We definitely have a handful of people that come in regularly and leave stuff. I'm so grateful for them because it's people are using it.
Excellent.
The band shell. This was a magical day. This was in January. We celebrated Esmeralda's birthday. Didn't know how to celebrate it in the midst of pandemic, but because we have so many friends, as you can see, and I know there are many more other ones running around the band shell here, but this is also my family and my inspiration, the children. This was a great night. I'm sure you were there, Ed.
Yeah, I got my face. Me and my wife both got our face painted and kept it painted for like 24 hours.
Yeah, we all did too. This is great. We love the band shell. I'm hoping there will be something there for us this summer.
Yeah.
Using the park, biking. I mean, we bought one of the things that drew us to Woodhaven over and over again was Forest Park. Again, as I said and have told you from coming from Vermont, we are outdoor people. We are happiest outside. And we have found other children that have similar thoughts and love to do it in multiple different ways. And we're so grateful to have Forest Park. We're in there, wow, at least every other day. Another day here, enjoying the baseball field. We played soccer in this corner here one day.
All right, here we go. All right, so now we're going to take a look at some of our. I hope I got it all right side up, and I apologize if I didn't.
Don't worry.
And I also like I said, I'm sure we got some more. So.
Oh, this one's behind me actually.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
Yeah, there it is. This is the print here.
All right.
Yep, this is an interesting one. This was prior to Johnny. I was married before, and this is called Domestic Turbulence. One color was for him, one color was for me, and I was still strifing a little bit with the loss of my dad. So ironically, there's a little trio going on there, but that's Domestic Turbulence.
And now this is one that you did with the razor and the
Yep. I'm going to show you a close-up. I have something on me actually. I might be able to bring up to the camera to show you, but it's of a different collage. But you can see each one of those triangles maybe it's easier to see in the yellow ones. I'm not remembering how many. There are 3 different types of triangles. Esmeralda probably could tell us what they are. But each one has roughly a dozen pieces of triangles. I learned that triangles were the best way to cut and piece together. I don't know how puzzles are made with the curves, but working with triangle really helped, obviously because of the straight edge, but I tried doing octagons and other shapes. I'll show you that later. But these are cut individually, and then I would color the edge. I'm a Virgo and a little neurotic in ways up here, so I would color the edge, because if they were not exactly touching, I would be able to see that slightest little gap that probably nobody else would see, but bothered me. So each one of those little pieces within there was probably cut at least a dozen times. Coming full circle. I love this one. I had fantasized about Martha Stewart picking this up and offering me a handful of money and making some kind of spring linen line. But this was, when I made this, I was dealing also with trying to figure out what I was doing with my life. You know, I came to New York. I was only going to, you know, stay a couple of years. Here I got married. I want to do something with my art. I thought I wanted to be an architect. Should I go back to school? I don't know, but I'm having a lot of fun doing this. So I just cranked on this. I actually this might be a good one to show a piece here. Yes, I might be able to show you a close up here. Let's see if I can do this. You might be able to see. I'll just try to go a portion of it. So you can see the magazine. You can see probably pieces of rug. I can see a bathing suit here, rug. The greens are cool because then you can see grass, the different grasses. There's so many different colors. There's Legos. So you can see that it's just a variety of green.
Now, how big was this original?
This piece is 42 by 42 inches.
Okay.
It's pretty big. This one took me 6 months. I tried to calculate the hours. I did write it down. It's unfortunately papered behind it, but it's, I estimate how many hours it took to do a purple circle, a green circle, a light blue, and then the darker blue ones. And it was an astronomical amount of hours. I would roughly put six hours a day in this. I worked in the restaurant. I had all day to just do this, and then at night go work and maybe play a little bit, and then come home and do this by day. And I loved it. It was very obsessive.
Now, when we spoke, you had talked about how apart from your early ones, you don't have the papers overlapping. Is that the case in this one too? Even the circles, they're not really overlapping?
Just the first one has overlapping. Only the first one.
First piece of work, right.
Yep. And you'll see there too, the shapes are completely different. There's probably no triangles in that one. This one, this one is a self-portrait. I was not a very good painter. We had talked about this, Ed. I don't know how to paint. I don't know how to paint. I don't know how to draw. I couldn't do a still life drawing. Just couldn't do it. So more abstract. I don't know. I just took a ruler and I just started drawing, and it was one continuous line. And then I just started coloring it in, so I knew where I'd wanted my colors, and then I drew it out and collaged it, and this is that. I guess this is me at 30, whatever that's supposed to have meant. Here too, though, I wonder if there are triangles there. Oh yeah, it is all. No, this is not all triangles either. So this I think this might have been my second one I did. This is the very first one I did. This is called Morning, Light at the End of the Tunnel. Pretty sad, pretty dark time for me. I didn't know what the hell I was doing in my life. So this started happening. I just started cutting and accumulating. I'd accumulate envelopes of blacks and blues and reds and greens. And I don't know. So this is a play off the textured color wheel, and it looks exactly like this, actually. It's just much, much bigger.
Now, what size is this one here?
This one is 56 by 40. I was trying to hope for the tunnel effect. I'm looking deep inside here, and it was great. It saved my life, this collage.
Wow, no, that's a powerful
Yeah,
thing to say. I mean,
it is. I believe that. I do believe that. I don't know where I would have gone. I think it was that dark. I'm so glad.
So now when you look at this, you know, what does this bring out in you?
Well, peace, actually, resolution. My relationship with my father was a kind of a roller coaster, to put it simply, I guess. Luckily, just before he passed, we had made amends. So I guess this was a great way of letting that out, but maybe sad that I hadn't done it sooner, that we've missed out on so many years and trying to find the lights. Well, thank goodness we had those last 6 months. So it's nice now. It took a long time to get to that point with this collage. In fact, where it sits, it's the least prominent place in our house, and it's not because of its size, but because of its deepness. Yes, this one.
Do I still have it upside down?
It is, and that's okay. Don't worry. This one I did at 32 years old, on the day my grandfather passed away, or I started on the day he passed away. I learned my Pepe had passed. First thing I wanted to do was draw, and went up on the roof and started sketching a maze. And this is the first maze I did, and from this point, always a maze. But this one is, it's, I tell you by heart, it's 18 inches. Oh no, I'm sorry. Let me tell you, it's 50 inches long, each inch for a year. And it is, I'm sorry, 28 and a half inches wide, also resembling my I guess, anyways, but inch by inch. So you enter, if you go from the bottom, you enter at the 18th inch. That's how old I was when I left home to go to college. When I did the collage, you exited at the 32nd inch. And that's how old I was when I did it. So if you turned it around, you can see in the beginning of the years, kind of a little crazy like that. And I thought between 32 and 50, you can see as you come out of the maze, it might be a little bit more mellow and easier and not so tumultuous as it was in the beginning. But now I'm turning 50 and we're in a pandemic. How funny is that? Time to do another maze like that, I guess. The Puzzle of Life. I love this one. It's based off the Tetris board or Tetris game. This one I did out of just fun. I was single and dating my now husband, and just kind of getting my self-esteem back, and why not Tetris? It was one of the few video games I ever played. I never got any further than, the Mario Brothers. And I also had made pieces of construction paper and made my friends also make their own puzzle, play their own Tetris game, because it is kind of another puzzle of life. You're trying to fit everything together, and this will lead to another collage, but each of the colors start resembling something and how they work or don't work, and can you do this and that, and it's life is a puzzle, and that's what this collage showed me. How can I do art? How can I work? How can I play? How can I don't know, travel? How can I fit all these pieces together? And this piece helped me figure that out.
And so let me ask you, these little triangles, all the little triangles, you've cut them out of magazine and stuff, but when you cut them out, do you color them, or is that just the color they come out? That's so you've got to actually search for all the right colors.
So I've gotten such a great collection that I was throwing them in bins, because now you can see there are two different shades of blue there, and purple too, right? I mean, purple is kind of a shade of blue. So yeah, they'd all be the blues, and I have to weed and find the blues that are all kind of similar colored, but not too similar, because as I see with the black and white maize, it's almost hard to differentiate between the pieces because they're so similar. So that lesson was learned in that collage. Every collage has also taught me something more that I wanted to improve on the next collage. So that was, now you can kind of see pretty well from here the difference of the pieces even from here. Beautiful. I love that one. Kung Fu Dita. Little confused here, trying to figure out my life again. I went to Brazil for 6 weeks and traveled around. I knew at this point when I did this, either my first marriage was going to work or it wasn't going to work. Came back, obviously it didn't work, but this is designed around that, hence it's green and yellow. And then in the middle is a mirror, and Kung Fu Dita means confused in Spanish. So here I'm trying to dare to look at myself and really try to decide what I really want to do and do it. That's what this collage is. And this one too is a maze. You can see at the top where you enter, and you enter at the bottom, hopefully finding yourself in that image, in that mirror.
That's great. Now this. I don't know. For some reason, when I saw this one, I said this one had to take the most time. This looks incredibly complex.
3 years. This one took 3 years. I did do one in the middle of it. I had to step back from this one. Obviously, it's the most challenging. I had to make templates. Not everything is a triangle. Not everything could fit perfectly because of the curves. They're very irritating. I did do some overlapping. I had to succumb. Another great lesson to learn, kind of pick and choose your battles. Do you want to finish it or not? Or are you going to be stuck here trying to get this piece right? Yes, this literally came out of the framing shop minutes before it needed to go up on my first art show. Luckily, it was just one block from the show. Yeah, this was a very tedious one. This is Johnny's collage, my husband's. This is called Trust the Journey. I made this one for him. I love you, Johnny. This one has a lot of story. Let me tell you this one a little bit. I designed this during the Winter Olympics, and when I learned that 8 was a magical number in China. So I made 8 bullseyes here. And the bullseyes represent opportunities. Some are big, some are small, some come and some go. And here too, a play from Puzzle of Life, the Tetris, of the colors. Let me tell you a little bit about this one. And this one too, I had friends and family tell their own story. So the orange, one of the thinnest lines, represents money. I had to work, right? I have to work. Everybody's got to pay the bills. It's important, but it shouldn't be everything for me, as I wanted this to be everything. Dark blue is same with fears. We all have them. And then you have reds, the next widest ones, and that's relationships. That's you and me, Ed, the neighborhood friends, with my mom, with my children. That represents that. And then the green is passions and desires, travel and art. That was what green was for me. And then blue is the widest. And for me at this time, it was Johnny and art. There was nothing more important than that, than collaging and being with him.
Nice. Very nice.
Yes. Aztec Warrior. This is the second one I did. Many lessons learned here. Won't do anything with curves. Too tricky. Also learned how strong the sun is. It bleached my original a lot. Now I'm so grateful I had them scanned because the colors are so vibrant. But this is an Aztec Warrior. A lot of my travels were in Latin America. I just loved it down there. I love the free spiritedness, the music, the food. There was it was so alive there. I mean, I've not traveled really anywhere else at this point. I've been to Greece, but that's it actually. Other than Greece, all my travels other than Canada are all Latin America, Mexico, Belize, Guatemala, Peru. Yeah, it's all Venezuela. It's all Latin America. So there's I don't know, a little bit of love in there. My husband is Argentine, so I guess I like Latin America. That's where this one came from.
All right, now we're getting some recent work, and you know, when we spoke, especially, you know, with your two kids, and great kids, and you've been you do a lot with them and inspire them, and I know they're going to show up in here quite a bit. So you've done a lot of projects at home. This picture is like this. I love this. So tell us a bit about this project.
In the previous one, though, at a different time, this has been an annual event at our house. Just before the school year, we cut cardboard out and we make these frames, and the kids come over and they write their names and the grade that they're going into, and they get to decorate it with whatever we have in our art trunk. And this is one of these times. Yes, this is a great group of kids. These are our children. Damien, Camille, look at that, Leona and Ezra and Nora, Kirsty and Kira. Big love here. Woodhaven, all Woodhaven families here. Well, that's the great thing about Woodhaven. We all live so close. We're able to walk to each other's homes. Who has that? It's remarkable, the community here for the young and the older, because not only our children close, but their parents, adults, are so tight. We've camped together. We've commiserated about school in these pandemic times. We've celebrated each other. Many of them are here with me this evening. Very fortunate. Woodhaven has a strong sense of community. Here it is, the future.
Yeah, great picture.
This is our awesome school. My children go to PS 254, the Rosa Parks School. It is in Richmond Hill, but it is our zone school. It's just on the other side of the
That's okay. It's okay. We're very open.
Okay, awesome. So they host something called Character Hat Day every year, and this is one of the character hats we did. This is Shel Silverstein, where the sidewalk ends. This thing was a beast. More projects. Here is Halloween costumes during pandemic times. Benicio and I have played a lot of Uno during Zoom meetings. I can't keep them quiet, but I can play Uno with them and pay attention at the same time. So for Halloween, he wanted us to be a deck of Uno cards. So yeah. I made those costumes, and the focus is we also have something called the vocabulary parade, and I made this bullseye for him, and it says focus on there. This is another one of our arts. My husband works tirelessly to create my castle. He calls it a castle. He's given me everything I've wanted in this house, and he does all the work himself. 9 years, a lot of work. So this is one wall we demoed, found some old newspapers in there that had insulated it, but we put in there, I didn't know what to do with all of Esmeralda's art. I was hoarding it all. We had the space, and Johnny's like, you can't do this anymore. We're only 5 years old. You gotta do something with this. It's like, okay, let's put it in the wall. So here it is. I tagged it in the wall, and then Johnny insulated it sheetrocked over it and painted over it. That's amazing. So maybe 100 years from now, when somebody buys the house and does something with it, they're going to find this magic behind there, and all the walls in our house look like that.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Now, did you like leave a little explanation, or is it just going to be they're just going to have to figure out?
Nope, they're just going to figure it out. Johnny wouldn't give me the time. I wanted to do so much more. He's like, no, he was right behind me
Wow. So you have
to
a
fill
time
it
capsule in
in.
your own house. That's great.
These are my Woodhaven sisters. Some of them, there are many of them. This is Halloween, many families, many children. So I want to thank them. The box tops is yet another art project. I started helping getting into the PA at our school, and box tops was a great way to help generate a little bit of funding for our school, and decided to do some advertising by being a box top for Halloween. This is Esmeralda's collage. I designed this in Argentina during her first birthday, actually. It is 365 centimeters long and 12 inches wide. The centimeters for each day of a year and 12 months of the year. And you enter and you exit. And each circle is a group of cousins. So the pinks are supposed to be for the girls and the green for the guys. But that's what that is. And behind it is actually 3 layers of collaging. I had too much accumulation of her first year that a one piece was not enough. I had to do another layer of collaging memorabilia accumulated during her time. And then I collaged her name, something I did for all of our cousins, and also collaged on the back and kind of wrote about what was going on at that time in my life when they got them. This is during pandemic when the rainbows in the windows coming together in unity. This is saving all those funny little frozen pizzas. I kept them and kept them. I didn't know what I was going to do with them. Johnny's like, what are we doing with all these? I don't know. One day they're going to come in handy. And here I made a rainbow in the beginning of the pandemic and had the children put their handprints and footprints on them, something that was always something very popular when I was growing up in the clay. So we have this still, not in front of the house, unfortunately, but it's remarkable. Another character, Hats, the one and only Ivan, great book. Esmeralda we love doing this. This is all recycled things. This was a bear, cardboard. The net was some ball and stick game. So we use that.
Now you've talked about recycled stuff, and you were telling me that you found a lot of stuff to use underneath the bridge on Jamaica Avenue.
Yes.
Tell us a bit about that.
Well, one of my favorite finds, or Benicio's favorite finds, was one of those big 5-gallon bins of Legos, just dumped in there. All the instruction pamphlets, though, all mixed together, all in there. Amazing. That was the biggest pot of gold. We have found punching bags there. We have found some lampshades, something I'm starting to dabble with a little bit of painting and maybe creating some kind of flower effect with egg cartons. A girlfriend of mine had made flowers out of egg cartons. I'm sure this has been done for generations for a teacher years ago, and I stole it from her last year. And then I started collecting these flowers, but I was having so much fun painting, and I didn't need any more flowers. I wonder if I can kind of create kind of a honeycomb effect on a lampshade. So ironically, I am finding bizarre things, not knowing what to do with them, but having the space to hold them when an idea comes. That is one.
Okay, we're at this. I'm gonna bring us out of this now. That was a lot of fun, Joe. It was a lot of fun walking.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thanks
Ed.
for sending them to me. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna hold on here. Okay. And now everyone should be able to unmute and say hello. And I think
Hey.
Hey, Jen.
Hey, Jen. That was wonderful.
Oh my goodness. Hi, Amy. I see my sister there. Hey, sis.
Hello, Jen.
Hi,
I'm so proud of you, honey.
my goodness. Hi, Lloyd. Oh, wonderful.
hey,
Oh,
so we wanna bring Lloyd Gordon on here for a second to give everyone an update. I'm gonna add him to the spotlight here and say hey to Lloyd. Lloyd, how are you?
Hi.
Good evening, everyone. This is a beautiful picture. If you see what I'm seeing right now, this is just beautiful. It's like one big Woodhaven community, and I think Jennifer like really made it extra special today. Thank you for joining us and being part. This is beautiful. I could tell you bring another level of just energy to Woodhaven in itself. I feel it every time you speak in your heart. So thank you. It was great talking to you the other day outside the Nears. Really appreciate it. And I know we also had another artist here, Deborah. She did our Christmas decorations, Christmas drawings outside. Love her stuff. So I had to hire her. I could do it every month, but hopefully business will get better, right?
Exactly. And it was a pleasure to do that for you.
Thank you. Thank you. You did an excellent job. And of course, my good friend, Edwin Dell. He's always in the corner there, putting all my nonsense together when I start to talk too much. But quick update, the big thing is the Nears Tavern Way. The city has passed the legislation that outside of Nears Tavern will forever be named Nears Tavern Way. So that's been the big energy. Oh, look at that. Someone's got the keychain. Oh, no, someone else. This is beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah. So that's our little memento. Is sponsored by Queen's Memory Project. Queen's Library has an initiative called Queen's Memory Project. They gave us a grant, $400 grant. So we made these. Instead of charging for them, we decided just to give them out for free. That's the best thing that we could do. So that's the big announcement. I'm going to take too much time, but I want to thank my Nears 200 community group has helped me through this pandemic by volunteering, and now also my Nears ambassadors that's helping me with some financial things. So thank you.
All right, Lloyd. Thank you. All right, so anyway, hey Evan.
Hey, Evan.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, I'm making a cake.
So
Making a
everyone, I'm gonna do the introductions real quick. Jen, everyone, Jen, please speak up. Does anyone have any questions for Jen?
Amazing that she's able to do this with pieces of paper. I wouldn't know what to do with it. I'm looking at it, I'm saying, what would I do with all this?
Thank you. I know. I had to figure it out. I couldn't just throw it away. Recycling was just a new thing here at that time, and I kept bundling and hoping one day, and it was time. I'm going to do something with that pile of paper.
You've done wonderful things with it.
Thank you. Thank you.
The fact that you've got your family all around you, that's wonderful.
Thank you. So lucky. Oh, I'm seeing them all.
Yes, very lucky. My family, but they weren't that close.
Yeah,
We lived in Queens, we had relatives in the Bronx, in the city, but not in Woodhaven. We were the one family in Woodhaven, but we were there a very long time. I now live in Florida, but I was there 60 years.
Wow.
Just about, yeah. From 1931 or 30 to 1990.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of years were spent in Woodhaven. Wonderful place.
Yes.
Yeah, we're not leaving. We're not leaving.
Yeah.
Don, this is the start of something really interesting. We have In 2 weeks, we have another artist joining us, Nefuza, and is going to join us. And then we've got beyond that, we've got at least one guitarist lined up. We've got one quilter that I've spoken to lined up.
Oh, wow.
I possibly might have one poet lined up out there. You know, so we're hoping that the more folks see this, we'll cast a wider net, and we'll start getting more and more local artists involved. And what kind of project can we get everyone together to do? Right?
And I have a
Together.
question.
Certainly.
I have a question for Jennifer. What are you working on now? And are your kids into the arts?
What am I working on now? And are my kids into the arts? Most definitely, both of them are. Art is so therapeutic, especially during these times. And to help get the kids off the computer, there's art always to be done. And that's what we tend to do with our free time. Benicio's 5, he's got a lot of energy, so his art's kind of fast, but I'm always amazed at what he's able to crank out. Esmeralda was doing art with a local artist in Kew Gardens for a couple of years, but art is in many forms. She's finding her art now not visual, but written, as Louise mentioned. She's trying to figure that out. She too likes to do paintings as well. We'll do a project and collaborate a lot. So yes, art is very much in our children's lives. What am I doing now? That's the $9 million question of the evening for all of us, including myself. I don't know. I know that this is an opportunity to try something new. I honestly don't know. I want to do something. I'm trying to figure that out. I'm open to ideas. I'm open to collaborating. I'm into wanting to work with children somehow. I don't know if it means art classes. I mean, there are many. My head is like woof all of a sudden in the last couple of months. I feel like we've gotten this remote learning thing under control because this has been very consuming with Benicio being in kindergarten. I'm sitting with him Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Ask Johnny. This is the ongoing thing. This is a mantra of mine now. But in the little times I am doing little projects, but they're more personal for me. But it's time to think bigger, as I had said with that circle collage. I had always envisioned of something bigger, and I don't know what that means, but I was hoping that maybe I could find a grant to be able to produce something or to work on something. I'm hoping here that will be the case, as Ed talks about many potential ideas. Wow, you guys are a lot of ideas, and I'm open for anything. I'm sorry, I don't know. I don't know. That's a good question.
Jennifer, may I ask if on your process, your colors are so vibrant and you're cutting out all these tiny little pieces. How do you get them to hold together? Is there any decoupage? What is your process?
So I use just a glue stick to glue it down on foam core. Everything's on foam core. I love foam core. So it's glued down on foam core, and then I do Mod Podge over the top, not to keep it together, but to protect it from the sun. Sadly, many of the pieces have peeled on their originals, so I don't know how to preserve them indefinitely. Hence, scanning them and making prints of them have saved their history.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Would they wind up in a wall eventually?
Probably.
Do you have a
Jennifer,
website?
Sorry.
Oh, I was asking if you had a website.
I do not have a website. In fact, I was trying to find some old information and went back to my MySpace. Do you all remember that? And found some bits and pieces of my early Technoquilter years. So no, but that is definitely on an agenda. I had one for a year or two, and just unfortunately with children let it go and wasn't doing the shows, and we were knee deep in the house. But that's got to happen. A friend of mine talks about Instagram. I don't know anything about that. She's nodding at me right now.
Oh, Jennifer, I had a question. You were
Yes,
saying
Deborah.
that you like to do a lot of things with recyclable materials, right?
Yes.
Yeah, did you ever do anything with the water bottles? Because you were mentioning about the egg cartons, how they have sort of like a flower effect underneath, but the water bottles, if you look, they kind of have a flower thing.
You're
going on.
absolutely right. I have not thought about that. I've been more interested in their nickels. I'm sorry. But that is a great idea because there is such an abundance of it.
Well, we know where you live and we can drop off the water bottles.
There you
Yeah.
go. Thank you, Louise.
All right, listen, I want to thank everyone for coming out. Jen, I want to thank you so much. This was really a lot of fun. Did you have a fun time, Jen?
I did, Ed. Thank you. You make it easier. You're very generous and kind with me. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. And Loy, I want to thank you for popping by and saying hello and your support as always. And say hello to everybody out there. What's it say here?
Here's Tavern
Oh,
Way.
Tavern Way. There we go.
Yeah.
So everyone, listen, be well. God bless. Take care. If you're out there tomorrow, enjoy yourself, St. Patrick's Day, and we'll see you here next Tuesday.
Okay, see you
Good
next
night,
week.
everyone. Good
night,
night,
Bye.
everyone. Love you,
Good night,
Jen.
Evan. Good night, Lloyd. Good night.
Good night.